Hey, what's up everybody? It's Underdog MLB, and I have a bit of a different type of video today than what I normally do. This video is still going to be about MLB The Show, but instead of playing it, I'm going to be discussing MLB The Show 21. As of right now, the amount of information we have about MLB The Show 21 is drier than the Sahara Desert. Usually by November, we know who the cover athlete is going to be. It's December, and it's still all just speculations at this point. I'm not even sure if the game is going to release in March when it usually does, and there is a lot of pressure riding on 21 since it should be becoming available on Xbox and Nintendo. People are expecting a lot of big upgrades like Create a Stadium, franchise relocation, a huge graphics improvement with the next-gen consoles, and other big new features. However, today I am not going to be going over the massive improvements that everyone is dying to see. I am instead going to talk about 5 new smaller features that are not make or break for the success of the game, but should enhance the game nonetheless. So let's get into it. The first addition I want to see next year is Sahlen Field, which was the temporary home park in Buffalo for the Toronto Blue Jays this year. A lot of people have been asking for real-life minor league stadiums instead of the fake 30 or so that we have in the game. I think if SDS were to do this, it would be a very long and multi-year process, seeing as how there are over 100 minor league stadiums that they would need to create in the game, and with travel being restricted this year, I think it would be nearly impossible for them to design even 30 new real minors parks, let alone over 100. However, asking for this one ballpark I feel is a pretty manageable request, especially considering they had the Rangers' new park in the game this year before a single game had ever been played in it. And in my opinion, there's a good chance that the Jays will need to play there for the 21 season anyways. Adding Sahlen Field to the game next year would add an aspect of realism to the game for 2020 or 2021 moments, and having a new stadium to choose to play in is always pretty cool anyways. The second item on my wish list is multi-game moment skipping. Pretty much everyone hates multi-game moments in Diamond Dynasty, and one of the reasons is because it takes just so long. Not only do you have to tally multiple games worth of stats, but in between each game, you need to back out of the moment, then re-enter it. This process takes about 30 seconds, which doesn't sound like a lot, but for people who don't have that much time to play the game, it can really add up. Anyone who's played Road to the Show knows that you can skip from your current game to your next game without having to back out into the clubhouse unless you've finished a series or have to have a discussion with a coach, which basically eliminates those 30 seconds of staring at the loading screen. I'm honestly surprised that this feature hasn't been added to multi-game moments too, as it would just make the whole process so much easier. Now, I'm not sure how this would affect the dashboard method, which if you don't know is a way to save your progress in a multi-game moment if you had a bad game, and may or may not be cheating a little bit. It's not really too clear, but regardless, allowing you to skip from one game to the next without having to back out of the moment will just be so much more convenient, and I'm really hoping SDS can implement that for next year. My third suggestion is to remove the stub cap on the community marketplace in Diamond Dynasty. This has become a subject of hot debate in the community the last couple of months because it's getting to the time of the year where people are loading up on stubs, and with content slowing down, there isn't a lot to spend them on. People are starting to want to buy some of the most expensive and rare cards because they want to have the best possible team, or that's their favorite player, or they want to do a team builder, whatever the reason. A lot of the more expensive cards are World Series or Battle Royale rewards, which can only be obtained by people who are extremely good at the game. So for someone like me, the only way I can get the card is by buying it. The problem is, a player's price is capped at 1 million stubs. For a normally priced card, you have the option to put in a buy order for higher than the top sell now price, which means you will have to wait until someone decides to sell that card to you. Or you can buy the card right away, but you have to purchase the best available sell order, which is always more expensive than just waiting it out. With a card that has buy orders for 1 million stubs, you don't have the option to buy the card right away because sellers can't post an order for more than 1 million stubs. You have to put in a buy order for 1 million stubs and then wait in line until you have the top order. And this line is slower than molasses in January. Like literally, I've had a buy order in for 1 million stubs on 99 KC Mize for about 3 weeks now, and I bet it will be January by the time my turn in line comes up. And Mize isn't even the worst one. Willie Mays has 312 people waiting in line. Chipper Jones has 449 people waiting in line. Billy Wagner has 465 people waiting in line. And for Wagner, there have been 5 orders completed in the last 19 days. If you put a buy order in now, at this pace, it will be MLB The Show 25 by the time your order goes through. If SDS were to just remove the stub cap, the price for these players would go over 1 million stubs. But if you really wanted that player, you could actually buy him right then and there. And the price would be more expensive, which would mean the demand would be lower for these cards because some people would decide that it's not worth the extra stubs. Now, I know there are some people who think they should only raise the stub cap. I personally don't think that would do much to help solve the problem. If they remove the cap entirely, I think the market would just be a lot better. But if you disagree, let me know in the comments and why you think that way. My next ask is for your event roster to save from run to run. There's many reasons why events is not as popular as the other Diamond Dynasty game modes like ranked seasons and BR, one of which is the fact that every time you lose 2 games in the event, you have to make a new entry, and every time you have a new entry, you have to rebuild your team from scratch. The game suggests the best possible team for you to use, but if you have a lineup of players you prefer to use, you have to go through and reset it every single time you lose 2 games. It's pretty annoying and time consuming, and if the game could just remember your lineup from your last run, you could just hop back in without having to spend time rebuilding your team. I'm hoping they can find a way to save your events roster next year, because I think events is a cool game mode, but there are a number of flaws with it that discourage people from playing it, and I think implementing this would definitely be a step in the right direction. And last but not least, let's go back to talking about moments, specifically everyone's other favorite type of moments besides multi-gamers, pitching moments. Pitching moments are pretty unpopular for pretty much the same reason as multi-game moments. They just take so long to do, especially the starting pitching ones. So why on earth do we need to extend the moment by making the pitcher take an at-bat every other inning? I understand that in real life, NL pitchers do have at-bats, but AL pitchers get DH'd for, and you still have to hit with AL pitchers in moments. And regardless what league the pitcher is from, it just adds an extra couple of minutes of the already boring and frustrating pitcher moments for you to sit there and hit weak rollovers to third with your pitcher. You guys can probably tell this one really boils my blood. It annoyed me last year, it still annoys me this year, and I'm praying they do something about it for next year. Otherwise, I might have to dunk my head in a bowl of Arby's curly fries. Well, that's going to wrap up my list of 5 small features I would like to see added to the game in MLB The Show 21. There's obviously a bunch of things I didn't bring up here. These were just my personal top 5. So if you have other suggestions, make sure to leave those in the comments. I'm planning on making a wish list over winter break of 30 new legends I want to see in the game for next year. So be sure to be on the lookout for that. And if there are any other wish list topics you want me to cover, be sure to let me know what they are. I appreciate you guys for watching. If you liked the video, feel free to go ahead and give it a like. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, if you want to see more content like this from me. And I'll see you guys later.